I gotta make a run. My gosh, I've got him at 120 yards. I could nail this guy.
Winchester's World of Whitetail.
Host Ron Spomer hunts big bucks under the big sky on this World of Whitetail.
Big looking deer out in that grass. Quite a few of them coming both ways out there. I think that's really been gradually working into that dip.
There's a buck walking across right down here, but I don't think he's that big.
Whitetails are really behaving erratically this year, so we have to sort of start from scratch and figure them out. We've still got feed fields. Those deer are still keen on feed fields. So we go in and overlook that big valley just to find out where those deer are hanging out, where they're feeding, and where they're moving. The biggest buck ever recorded in Montana, according to the Boone and Crockett record book, scored 199 3/8 inches of antler. Ooh, that is a big one. That was back in 1974 in western Montana, Missoula County. These days, most of the big whitetails are coming out of eastern Montana, like here on the Muscle Shell.
A tributary of the Missouri, the Muscle Shell runs through sparsely populated east central Montana.
The river valleys running through these rocky hills provide habitat for whitetails because they've got riparian cover and they've got crops. The whitetails are growing big and the hunters are after them. Randy Higgins here at Muscle Shell Outfitters, one of his clients took a 182 whitetail, so they can grow big along the Muscle Shell. We're here with Winchester's World of Whitetail to see if maybe we can't find that new state Montana record.
The plains and prairies of the West and Midwest are home to some great whitetail hunting, as Spomer knows. Hunting here is proactive, aggressive, and exciting. Spotting and stalking, rather than stand hunting, is the tactic of choice. Instead of letting the buck stop here, a hunter has to go out and find the buck himself.
Down he goes.
Over the years, Spomer's found some exceptional whitetail hunting out on the lone prairie of eastern Montana, although it may look like flat tumbleweed country. The lush, timbered river bottoms you find there are inviting havens into which whitetail have migrated over the years. And out of those river bottoms can come some real rocking chair bucks.
Where did that big buck get to? Deer everywhere. Even behind me, looks like some mule deer coming out here. No, these are whitetails. Bucks. What the heck? Go out in that sagebrush? That's crazy. There's the big one. He's in the back.
That's the one with the antlers past his ears. The 5x. He might make 140.
He's gonna head up to this field over here. He's gotta cross that creek. I gotta make a stalk on those guys. I gotta cut that distance. Where are they gonna go? Oh, I got a whaler out of sight. Okay, one dropped in. Two, he drops in that cut. I gotta make a run, because that's a good 700 yards. I gotta cut that down. I'm just gonna leave this spotter. I know what he looks like. He's so much bigger than the rest of them. Come on, go down, go down. Drop, okay. Everybody's out of sight. He's over the top. That's a small one. The big guy's got to be coming up. He's got to come follow him right up there. That's not one back there, is it? He's going right up that steepest bank. 475. That's too far. Don't go up there, buddy. Come up this close one. Oh no, that's him coming up. Phew, 475. I can't move on him. Come closer, doggone it. Oh, I don't know if I want to take that shot. I don't think this is going to happen. They're just not moving. They're feeding right there. Looking at me, but he's not spooked. I think tomorrow, if I let him go, I bet they'll be right back in this area tomorrow and I can look for him. I think that discretion is the better part of valor on this deal. Jeez, 425 though. That's too much for this. I've never seen whitetails that unpredictable. And 425 yards is a long shot anyway. You want to be darn sure you're set up to make it a solid hit. We don't always all play by the highest ethical standards, but we certainly try, and that's one thing we can easily do is hold off on those risky shots. It's just too good of a buck to even waste risking a shot like that on anyway. I did see him a couple more times, and I think he's the one I subsequently rattled in. We had some bucks, and we were working them. The crazy thing was we couldn't pattern them. Dead on shot, come on.
Winchester's World of Whitetail is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend, Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. Dallas Safari Club, promoting conservation, education, and ethical hunting worldwide. Bushnell, the new laws of performance. And by Mossberg, field-proven performance. It's the challenge of Western whitetail for Ron Spomer as he spots and stalks bucks along Montana's Musselshell River.
Well, we're looking forward to this week coming with Ron Spomer here, and we're looking to hunt some whitetail on the Musselshell River, where we've got a spot where there's a lot of corn and grain fields where there seems to be a lot of whitetail.
2 does in a farm there, but that's a good stand of corn stalks. We can certainly hide in that. I like that. I wasn't expecting corn in this country.
Yeah, you know, it's not a lot of corn around here, so it's definitely a kind of a magnet. And the thing is, with the blue tongue, a lot of these fields that don't have corn, it's hard to find a whitetail right now. So it's kind of nice to have that corn.
Randy has got this huge expanse of agriculture, and that's usually a key to finding bucks out here in the dry plains in the west. Where the deer are going to feed. Oh, they're going to nibble here and there and who knows what. But if you've got ag fields, bingo, that's your whitetail habitat for feeding, and that's the bottleneck. So you can usually figure out where do they eat, where do they sleep, how do I intercept them. All right, this is sort of a western version of a deer blind. We're just up on a little knoll out in this big cornfield, and they've got a few stalks out here yet, and that's enough visual cover. The river's down here, the wind's out of this direction, so anything coming off of that thicket up to this cornfield to feed is going to be in view. Got the rangefinder picked out a few distances, so I'll have a good idea when they're in range, and they could come off the hills over on this side too, so I'm going to be busy spinning around watching deer from all directions. Okay, dear, this is your big chance. There's one up. On the edge of that wheat. Good, 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 good. Yeah, he got his rack up in here now. Now 2 0 tips, 4x4. Not gonna win any prizes. So I passed that one thinking I could stalk closer, and I still had a couple of days, you know, and that's just the price you pay to be a sportsman.
You know, the only thing better than getting to go whitetail hunting all fall is getting to go in a new Ram Outdoorsman.
What's always predictable is the quality and innovation that goes into Ram trucks. Take something as seemingly simple as the trailer hitch plug-ins. The status quo is a tangled mess of dangling wires. But the new Ram offers a 4- and 7-pin trailer hitch wiring harness and connector with a convenient plug-in connection integrated into the rear bumper. Instead of letting it all hang out, the Ram has everything in the right place.
He is coming to me, and it is a challenge. He's coming. He's coming.
Winchester's World of Whitetail is brought to you by Mossberg, field-proven performance. Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. Shop at one of over 30 locations or online at sportsmanswarehouse.com. Mossy Oak, it's not a passion, it's an obsession.
Hey, it looks like a nice little wildlife pond here, doesn't it? Yeah, but there's a sinister side to it, and it's called EHD, epizootic hemorrhagic disease. Another one similar to it is called blue tongue. If you're a whitetail hunter, you've probably heard of these. They kill a lot of whitetails. You can lose 80–90% of a herd in 1 month in late summer. And it happened here on the Muscle Shell this year, but it thankfully is spotty. And our guide Randy has ranches spread out, so we're going about 30–40 miles from our base camp into an area that's a little drier, doesn't seem to have the big die-off. His other areas completely wiped out. So it's a serious problem. You need to pay attention to it, especially if you're coming out to hunt in the west. Boy, those EHD breakouts can really hurt the whitetail.
The spark plug of hunting is always the cartridge and bullet.
Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. You deliver the whitetail and I'll make the shot. Hunters are justifiably impressed with new rifles, new optics, but we tend to overlook innovations in something far more important, ammunition. In the bad old days, you had a choice between a soft point and a solid point, and maybe a hollow point. But look at all the choices we're given these days. A ballistic silver tip, highly efficient. The good old-fashioned lead-exposed soft point. The new Power Core 95.5, what a great bullet, no lead in it whatsoever. The Power Max bonded, relatively inexpensive, molecularly bonded jacket to the lead core bullet for deep penetration. And then you've got that superb XP3 which will penetrate through anything. You've got the AccuBond, another sharply tipped pointed bullet that's also bonded. And you've even got banded solids. Well, that's for elephants. You don't need it for whitetails. But to have that many choices really improves your hunting, because not only can you pick the perfect bullet for the game you're shooting at the velocity your rifle shoots, but you can sample all of these different loads to find out which one is the most accurate in your rifle. These are the good old days for ammunition. Montana. I like paradise. Randy had a pocket where he still was seeing some bucks, and by golly, he wasn't kidding, because we had at least 4 good bucks in that 120 to 140 range. Well, there's a challenge for us. We've come, what is it, 2 miles over to the ridge at least, huh? Looped all the way around, and we know he's out here, just bare nothing, but there are enough erosion cuts and sagebrush gets high enough when he lays down. So the question is, do you push in there and jump him, spook him, or wait for the night? These feed fields were so vast, miles across, that by the time you figured out they're going off the west side or the east side and got around them, they were probably already gone. I think wiser heads say wait for the night. We just have to watch the wind this afternoon, get in position so we can make a stalk after he's up. My gosh, I've got him at 120 yards. I could nail this guy.
Winchester's World of Whitetail is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. Dallas Safari Club, promoting conservation, education, and ethical hunting worldwide. Bushnell, the new laws of performance. And by Mossy Oak. It's not a passion, it's an obsession. World of Whitetail's Ron Spomer has come to east central Montana on a trail of trophy buck along the Muscle Shell River, but time is growing short.
Penultimate day. I looked that word up and it means second to last. I don't know where it comes from, but it's a cool word. So on the second to last day, I'm up here rattling on the hills, and this big buck is across the river. Here he comes. Oh yeah, come on. Oh yeah, right at me. I rattle, he comes, he loses interest, I rattle again, he starts back. I stop him, he watches me, I rattle some more, and he changes his route. He was going west, and now he swerves to the south, and he comes back to the river. Come back. He is coming to me, and it is a challenge. Yeah, that's better. I do some grunting, he hears it, he perks up his ears. He's coming, he's coming. I thought maybe he'll cross that river. Would that be cool to watch a buck jump in the river, swim across, come into your rattling and grunting? He's coming, and he goes right up to the river. Curious boy, he wants to come. Come on, big fella, let's go. Here he comes. My gosh, I've got him at 120 yards. I could nail this guy. Around the corner. But he's on the wrong side of the river. It's the wrong property. What are you going to do? He's not going to cross that river. God, he was close. River got me. Stayed over there, decided watching a couple of bucks fight wasn't worth swimming in that river, and he went down off into Wonderland here to find some does without having to involve himself in a fight and get wet for the process. I had him at 100, maybe 200 yards, right down to the water. Wouldn't cross it. Darn. Property lines kill you every time. Property lines. God didn't make any property lines. Oh well. That could have been the buck, you know, if it weren't for property lines and you can hunt here and you can't hunt there. Once again, it's the sportsmanship issue, the ethics. You don't break the rules, you don't break the law just to get a nice buck. Shooting a deer on somebody else's property is just not worth it. Doesn't do the sportsman any favors, certainly doesn't do the hunter any favors. So we've got to play by the rules. The whitetails are going to win some, you're going to win some. It all works out in the end. Plus, I have the knowledge that he was close enough. I brought him in, I did my part. I was a successful hunter. didn't shoot that deer, but I certainly brought him in and I had him close enough and could have done the job. And there's great satisfaction in that. Tried everything, and these deer just didn't have a pattern this year. They would go off to the hills one day, and they'd go off to the sagebrush the next day, and they'd run down to the river the next day, and they won this round. But that's just part of deer hunting. That's part of what makes you come back the next year and try harder. It's all part of Winchester's world of whitetail. This the draw you saw him go into?
Yeah, there was a buck went in there and we didn't see him really come out. I don't know if you want to try to walk in on him. I mean, I know it's going to be tough, but you know, we could try to walk in on him.
Look at, what do we have to lose? It's the last day. We either get one now or we don't. We've got those bucks that went out there for tonight. You know, we might as well hunt this end of it. It's not going to disturb those, and if he is in here and he jumps up close enough. I don't like shooting running deer, but I've been done before.
We can just see what happens.
All right. Well, let me check things out here, get my setting down here where I can see them in the scope.